Good evening folks, and it's David here once again bringing you another breakdown of one of my songs. I've had a lot of requests for Cars by Gary Numan, so I thought I'd have a go at doing that one for you. So the BPM that I used for this one was 130 BPM, and I have 6 sequences set up for the song, and I thought I'd just go through them with you. So the first sequence is the introduction, which is like this long synthesizer sound with a snare drum right at the very end. So there's 4 bars of this. Have a listen. And that goes straight into the second sequence, which is broken down into sequence 2 and 3. Sequence 2 is 4 bars and sequence 3 is 2 bars. So have a quick listen to sequence 2. So that's repeating on 4 bars, and then that goes in straight into sequence 3, which is on 2 bars. So played together in the song would sound like something like this. And then that goes straight into, I've got this set up on sequences 5 and 6, which is like the main verse of the song. So it goes into sequence 5. And then straight into sequence 6. Back to 5. Back to 6. And then into 4. And then that goes back into sequence 2. And then sequence 3. Back to sequence 2. So let me break those down a little bit better for you. So sequence 1, the sound that I'm using on that for this sort of droning synth sound is the JP8 strings 1 on digital synth 2, and the drum at the end, the snare drum that you're hearing is snare drum 2. And it's just right at the very end you get this snare drum roll. So you've got, let's just bring that up, this snare drum, put it onto, if I can do this, sorry about this. So in bar 4 you get 3 hits of the snare followed by 1 hit of the snare there. Just watch it go through. Coming up to bar 4 now. And then that goes straight into sequence number 2. So what I'd do, I'll just quickly describe what instruments we've got on there. So we've got JP8 strings 1 on D2 still. We've got the saw and sub bass 1 on the analog synth sound, so that's creating this. And then we've got obviously the drum pattern. So what I'll do, a bit like the other videos I've done, I'll just break down the drum pattern for you. Done myself a little crib sheet again for it. So these are the drums that I'm using. So we've got that hand clapping sound there. we've got a hi-hat on there. We've got two snare drums, that snare drum and this one here, and we've got the cymbal sound there as well. So if I just play it now, it should be quiet. So I'll just bring the drums in one at a time. So we bring the snare in, and we'll bring the hi-hat, the claps, the hi-hat there, and then the crash cymbal. So if I've just played it from the beginning, it might make more sense then if just play it from the beginning. And that same sequence is used on sequence number 3 as well, so I won't bother breaking that one down all the way. In the main part of the song, again, it's very, very similar to sequences 2 and 3. The main difference we have really is in sequence 4, which is a bit like the chorus, I suppose. If we play that one through, so we'll just isolate the drum track on there for you. So on this one we've actually got a bass drum. On the other two sequences we didn't have a bass drum playing, so what I'll do, I'll just isolate that for you, again using my crib sheet, if you can see it here. So we'll just turn all these drum sounds down, and closed hi-hat, open hi-hat, snare drum 2, snare drum 3, tambourine sound, and the crash cymbal. So we should have silence now. So I'll just bring the drums in again one at a time. So the bass drum, and then the second bass drum with a bit of echo on it, the snare drum 1, snare drum 2, closed hi-hat, open hi-hat, tambourine, and the crash cymbal. So if I just play that from the start now for you. Bring the other instruments in. So again, it's JP8 strings on digital 2 and the analog synth. And then that repeats again for a few times throughout the song. So that really basically is the song in itself. And towards the end, the very end of the song, there's another synth sound that comes in, which I had to play in separately. So as I've said before, I record quite a few of my songs using the Tascam DP006 here. The reason being because there's a lead sound that plays over that. If I can just try and play that for you, it goes something like this. And that plays over these two sequences here, but the problem is, as I said before, when you switch between the two sequences you get a dip in audio. I'll just try and demonstrate it for you if I can, one-handed. See, I don't know if you heard that. That wasn't me making a mistake, that was the synthesizer sort of cutting out as it switches between the two sequences. So a way I can sort of demonstrate it, I've got a similar sort of sound set up on this Juno D down here, so I'll see if I can just try and play it one-handed this way. Might be difficult. Can't really demonstrate it one-handed, I'm afraid, but I think you may get the gist of what I'm trying to do there. Apologise for that, but again, holding this camera with one hand and trying to play with the other is a little bit of a feat, to say the least. Anyway, I hope you found that interesting, and again, if you want any more of my songs doing, I've got a few lined up to do for you, but just keep the feedback coming in the comments, and I'll look forward to doing some more for you in the future. All the best for now, and thanks again for watching. Bye for now.